Hey, good day to you. This is Todd. I am a regular dude walking in the Word. Hey, we're in Genesis right now. We're in chapter 23 today. We're going to do 2 episodes on chapter 23 today. I want to read through the whole thing, the whole chapter. It's not that long, and then tomorrow we'll do just 4 verses from it. But today it's called a time to mourn. Okay, this is really dealing with the death of Sarah here. I want you to notice here that this is the first time tears are mentioned, that, crying is mentioned in the Bible. So, it wasn't with Adam and Eve and all the stuff that happened before this with the flood and all that stuff. It happens here with Abraham mourning for his wife Sarah when she passes away. So let's read here today Genesis 23. So if you have your Bibles like I do, you can follow along there. It says, Sarah lived to be 127 years old. She died at Kiriath Arba, and that is Hebron, in the land of Canaan, and Abraham went to mourn for Sarah and to weep for her. Okay. First of all, it's first time weeping is mentioned like this. Second thing here to note is that there's really no other place in the Bible where it tells the age. It spends so much time talking about the age of a woman, and especially when they died. It doesn't. I don't know of another lady that it's talked about. She lived to be this old and then she died. But for Sarah, it is mentioned like that. 127 years old. Okay, and Abraham lived quite a few years after that yet. All right. Verse 3, Then Abraham rose from beside his dead wife and spoke to the Hittites. He said, I am a foreigner and a stranger among you. Sell me some property for a burial site here so I can bury the dead, my dead. The Hittites replied to Abraham, Sir, listen to us. You are a mighty prince among us. Bury your dead in the choicest of our tombs. None of us will refuse his tomb, for burying your dead. Okay, so they're like, we've got, graveyards all over the place. Just use one of our graveyards. Abraham does not want to do that. Verse 7, Then Abraham rose and bowed down before the people of the land, the Hittites. He said to them, If you are willing to let me bury my dead, then listen to me and intercede with Ephron, son of Zohar, on my behalf. So he will sell me the cave of Machpelah, which belongs to him and is at the end of the field. Ask him to sell it to me for the full price as a burial site among you. So Abraham wanted a cave to bury his wife. Ephron the Hittite, who was sitting among his people, and he replied to Abraham in the hearing of all the Hittites who had come to the gate of his city, No, my lord, he said, listen to me. I give you the field. I give you the cave that is in it. I give it to you in the presence of my people. Bury your dead. Okay, so he's playing Mr. Nice Guy. There's a lot of things happening here in the conversation, wheeling and dealing. And he's going, oh, man, you're a great guy. I'm just going to give it to you. I'm going to give it to you. Now, if Abraham would have said, oh, giving it to me, thanks, and taken it, there would have been some implications. He would have been like, that's not what I meant, like that. But so anyway, the negotiating is starting, and he's like, oh, I'm going to give it to you. And Abraham's like, no, I want to pay for it. And then there's no strings attached to it either. If you buy it, it's yours. It's not, you're not sharing it. All right. Verse 12, Again Abraham bowed before the people of the land, and he said to Ephron in the hearing, Listen to me, if you will. I will pay the price for the field. Accept it from me so I can bury my dead there. Ephron answered Abraham, Listen to me, my lord. The land is worth 400 shekels of silver. But what is that between you and me? Bury your dead. So the Ephron is starting the negotiations, and he's starting up high. He's like, it's only worth like 100 shekels, but I'm going to go high, and then maybe I'll get my 100 shekels. So he's starting way up high in the negotiation. But look what Abraham does here. Verse 16, Abraham agreed to Ephraim's terms and weighed out for him the price he had named in the hearing of the Hittites, 400 shekels of silver, according to the weight current among the merchants. So Abraham wanted that field, and he really didn't care what the cost was. He was going to get that field. And so I'm sure it took Ephraim by surprise, like, no negotiating, you're just going to give it to me. So we might be doing stuff like that. You might be buying something on Craigslist, or let's say that you, on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, you're going to buy a car, and you want to buy a 300ZX car. And you've been looking, and you found it, and the guy is wanting like $3,000 for it. And you go there, and everyone has been wheeling and dealing with him, and he's like kind of tired of it. And you look at it, and it's like the perfect car you want. And you say, "Oh, you want $3,000 for it?" And the guy goes, "Yeah, I'd like to get $3,000 for it." And the guy is thinking, "Okay, here goes the wheeling and dealing." And you just pull out of your pocket, "Okay, here's $3,000." And he's like, "What?" And you're like, "Yeah, I want that car. That car's got to be mine." Okay. And that's what Abraham did here. He was like, "I'm paying full price for it," Verse 17. So Ephron's field in Machpelah near Mamre, both the field and the cave in it, and all the trees within the borders of the field were deeded to Abraham as his property in the presence of all the Hittites, who had come to the gate of the city. Afterward, Abraham buried his wife Sarah in the cave in the field of Machpelah, near Mamre, which is in Hebron, and in the land of Canaan. So the field and the cave in it were deeded to Abraham by the Hittites as a burial site. The thing I want you to see from this today is it's okay to mourn and weep, and it's not there's books out like every day is Friday and every day is the weekend, or goofy stuff like that. No, and there's times where you're going to be sad about something, and there's times where you're going to be happy about something. So turn with me over to Ecclesiastes 3, Ecclesiastes 3 verses 1 through 8, and it talks about this. There has to be a balance. Now, you're not going to be sad all the time. There's something wrong with you if you're like sad all the time, but it's not every day's a party either. Okay, so let's read here Ecclesiastes 3 verses 1 through 8. There's a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens. A time to be born and a time to die. Okay, we all have to be born, and someday each one of us has to die. Okay, and usually it's not like, yippee, he's dead. It's not like that. You're sad because that person died. A time to plant and a time to uproot. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to tear down and a time to build. Verse 4, listen to this. A time to weep and a time to laugh. Okay? It's not appropriate to laugh at everything that comes along. You have a guy that just is laughing all day long. You're like, what's wrong with him? But then you have a guy that comes along and is like crying all day long. You're like, okay, something's wrong with him. You got to have balance. Verse 5, a time to scatter stones and a time to gather them. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to search and a time to give up. A time to keep and a time to throw away. A time to tear and a time to mend. A time to be silent and a time to speak. And a time to love and a time to hate. A time of war and a time of peace. Okay? Bottom line here today is this. You need to have balance in your life. And balance is, there's times when you're going to be sad. There's times you're going to be happy. All those different things that I just read in Ecclesiastes, it's got to be balanced out. There's if every day is a party and every day is a Friday, something's not right. Okay, so remember that today. Thanks for watching. I'm a regular dude walking in the Word, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow as we continue through Genesis. Lord's blessing. I'll see you then.